video is sponsored by supply handlers. Every World Cup tournament tends to create its own star, and in 2026 it appears that the chosen man is Vozinha. The man has turned into an overnight celebrity. From less than 50,000 followers coming into the tournament, the goalkeeper now boasts over 22 million followers on Instagram alone. His performances at this World Cup forced the world to stop and pay attention to him, so perhaps it's time to get to know the man a little more. These are 10 things you didn't know about Vozinha. First of all, it seems like fate that one of the biggest games of his life came against the greatest Argentine player of all time, because after he was born, his parents wanted to name him after an Argentine player, Jorge Valdano. Valdano was part of that team that won the World Cup with Argentina in 1986, the same year that Vozinha was born. In fact, he scored the goal that put Argentina 2-0 up in the final against West Germany. Valdano was a real star back then, and Vozinha's parents idolized him so much that they wanted to name their newborn after him. But then, the craziest thing happened. We'll tell you all about it in a second, but if you aren't yet subscribed to the channel, go do that right away so you never miss out on our amazing content.
Hey fam, this is your chance to build the jersey collection you've been waiting for. The Goal 90 bundle deal is live. Buy 2 jerseys and get 10% off. Buy 3 and get 15% off. Buy 4 and get a massive 25% off. Club kits, country kits, retro classics, pick your favorites and save big. And yes, every order comes with free worldwide shipping. Goal 90 bundle deal. Buy more, save more. Shop now at Goal 90 Shop.
Done? Okay, now back to the video. Would you believe that the Cabo Verdean government did not permit this young couple to name their kid after the Argentinian footballer? Some people don't even know that the government can have a say in what parents name their kids, but that was the case here. Anyway, since they weren't given permission by the authorities, they then chose to name him after a Brazilian fullback who also played at the 1986 World Cup, Josimar. It was like his parents knew that their kid was destined to play at the World Cup one day. But yeah, you must have noticed that the Cabo Verde captain doesn't go by Josimar right now. Well, that's because he was forced to change his name when he started to play professional football. We'll get to that soon, but did you guys know that Vozinha has actually played in 5 major international tournaments for Cabo Verde? Many people see him as a newbie, but he has actually been on the international stage for more than a decade now. This might be his first ever World Cup outing, but he was present at the Africa Cup of Nations with Cabo Verde in 2013, 2015, 2021 and 2023. In the 2023 edition, he helped Cabo Verde reach the quarter-finals. They topped a group that had Egypt, Ghana and Mozambique and went on to hold South Africa to a draw in 120 minutes in the quarter-finals. During the shootout in that game, Vozinha saved a penalty, but with Cabo Verde converting only one of their kicks, it proved not to be enough. Vozinha finished that tournament with 3 clean sheets in 5 games, so he has always been a solid goalkeeper, especially at major international tournaments. But of course, the World Cup was a different ballgame entirely. Drawn in a group with Spain, Uruguay and Saudi Arabia, nobody gave this small island nation a chance, but Vozinha stood tall and went on to make history. He became the oldest player to feature in his nation's first ever World Cup game, the oldest goalkeeper to keep a clean sheet on his World Cup debut, and only the 3rd ever goalkeeper to keep multiple clean sheets at the World Cup after turning 40. He made 18 saves in 4 games at this World Cup, which meant that only Peter Shilton of England and Dino Zoff of Italy have made more saves at the World Cup after turning 40. But before the records came, there were a lot of challenges. As the story goes, when he was just a kid, Vozinha was told by many people that he was too small to make it as a professional goalkeeper. Add that to the fact that he was born in a small island nation which didn't have a strong global football reputation, and it looked like his dreams would not come to reality. All of that got to him, and he came super close to quitting football completely. Of course, considering that he is only just attaining global fame at the age of 40, it is clear that he is a late bloomer. But did you know that he actually did not become a professional footballer until he was 25 years old? He had seriously considered calling it quits on his football dream several times, but he was eventually offered his first professional contract by an Angolan club named Progresso do Sambizanga in 2012. That was the same year he made his debut with the Cabo Verde national at the age of 26. His professional career would take him to Moldova, Portugal, Portugal, Cyprus and Slovakia, and now he is a 40-year-old free agent after having said goodbye to second division Portuguese club Chaves just before the World Cup kicked off. Will he get a big contract, or will his age serve as a deterrent? What do you think? Anyway, let's circle back to his first professional club for a second. It was there that he was forced to change his name from Josimar to Vozinha. How did that happen? Well, prior to his move to Angola, he played under the name Josimar, but when he got to Progresso, there was another player who went by that same name at the club. But not only was he just another player, he was also a goalkeeper. So our guy had to change his name in order to avoid any confusion. You see, he was raised by his grandparents who had given him the nickname Vozinha, which translated to little grandpa in England, so he thought that that would be just the perfect name for him. And well, isn't it interesting that he rose to fame while being the little grandpa of his national team? Anyway, speaking of family, we're sure you didn't know that Vozinha has a brother that also plays football. His younger brother's name is Delmiro, and he's a 37-year-old defender who currently plays his football in Cyprus. He has featured for the Cabo Verde national team in the past, but he wasn't part of their World Cup squad. Now, while Vozinha and Delmiro both make a living out of football, their other brother chose a completely different path. Clydeir is a mathematics teacher all the way in Brazil. We're sure his students see him as something of a celebrity right now, but yeah, it is now time to address the elephant in the room: his social media following. Yes, it's no longer a secret that the number of followers on his Instagram skyrocketed after his World Cup debut against Spain, but we bet many of you don't know how that came about. No, it didn't just happen because he was so good or because he had such an interesting personality in between the sticks. There was actually a campaign to boost his followers. Brazilian broadcaster Cazé TV and streamer Casimiro Miguel kicked off the campaign to help the goalkeeper reach 1 million followers after his brilliant man of the match performance against Spain. In less than 24 hours, he had catapulted from just around 50,000 to 4 million followers. The massive surge became a topic on its own in English and American media, and more people started to follow him, not knowing how it started. And of course, the performance against Lionel Messi and Argentina only made people more curious about him, which further increased his follower count. Now, obviously, it is football that has given him most of what he has, but in addition to that, he is also a beach volleyball instructor. During the off-season, he spends most of his time teaching volleyball on the Cabo Verdean Islands, looking at his huge leaps, acrobatic dives, quick reflexes, and generally how good he is with his hands. It's actually not very surprising that he is something of a volleyball expert as well. Finally, did you know that Vozinha's idol is Lionel Messi? He has often praised the former Barcelona man as the greatest footballer of all time, and before the round of 32 game against Argentina, the goalkeeper said that his childhood dream was sharing a pitch with Lionel Messi. Well, not only did he get to fulfill that dream, he gave such a good account of himself that night that Messi couldn't just help but praise him. The 8-time Ballon d'Or winner told Vozinha that he is a very good goalkeeper and that his people must be very proud of him. They would go on to exchange shirts in the dressing room after the feisty game. It is now time to hear from you guys. Is Vozinha the biggest story of the 2026 World Cup? Can he still get a big move this summer despite his age? Tell us what you think in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Also, turn on the bell notification so you never miss out on new content. Catch you in the next one. Bye!